We live like people who have no relationships, no bonds, and no connections. Indifference and not action is often our greater crime. No one remains unchanged after personal contact with the world of the poor and the needy. They say that hell gets filled faster than heaven. On one such day, there was only just one place left in hell, and the devil in charge had to interview people closely to see who really merited to take that last vacant place. The devil happened to notice, after so many interviews, a man who was staying apart and saying that he was there only by mistake because he had done nothing wrong at all. The man said he had traveled the whole world and had witnessed horrible things. Children dying of hunger, people exploited, wars, riots, crimes and frauds. But he always stood apart, resisting the temptation of participating in any of those. The devil was curious and asked him if he had seen anything. Yes, the man said, everything with my own eyes. But I always kept a distance. And you did nothing at all? Nothing at all, the man was happy to say. Then, enter, my dear friend, said the devil, this place is yours. Indifference and not action is often our greater crime. The rich man in the parable ends up in a place of torment after his death, not for what he did, but for what he failed to do. If we read the story closely, in many ways he was successful and smart in the sight of everyone, while most people around him lived poor and dressed themselves poorly. He wore purple linen and dined sumptuously. Where most people failed to make both ends meet, he made a fortune. He must have been a symbol of success for many people. But the rich man was not so smart before God or in the face of the misery of poor Lazarus. There, he was downright foolish. He just didn't notice Lazarus lying at his gate. He just took him as part of the landscape. He didn't care to know who Lazarus was or how he struggled to feed himself from the scraps that fell from his table. For him, Lazarus was a nameless beggar. He did nothing at all to help him. He forgot to wake up to the needs and the sufferings so strikingly visible at his own threshold. In course of time, Lazarus died, and the rich man also died. It is then that they switched sides and the real reversal of fortune begins. After his death, the rich fool finds himself in the torment of hell, while Lazarus is in paradise in the bosom of Abraham. So he asks Abraham to send Lazarus to wet his parched tongue with a little finger dipped in water. But Abraham tells him, sorry, you did not hear my wake-up call at all when you were alive. You did nothing to help Lazarus when you really could have. It is too late now to change things. Then the rich man asks God to send Lazarus to his 5 brothers at home. He wants to send them a real wake-up call through Lazarus and alert them. But Abraham reminds him that if they are so set in their indifference, even if someone were to return from the dead, they would not believe. God sends us wake-up calls all the time. We may not exactly see a Lazarus lying sick and dying at our gate. But we come across so many people who need our attention and care. We can look the other way and pass by as if they never existed in this world. We can be so insensitive that for us all, what matters is the comfort and the security of our own private world. We live like people who have no relationships, no bonds, and no connections. It is interesting to note that in the gospel story, the rich man has no name. He is simply called the rich man, while the poor man, Lazarus, has a name. But the rich man lived as though he had a name, and the poor Lazarus was faceless. He did not realize that it was he who lived in a world of isolation with no name, no friends, and no identity. In contrast, Lazarus had an identity of his own. He was a person in the eyes of God. This reversal of fortune becomes clear to him at judgment and is another reason for his title, the rich fool. So, for us all, this is a wake-up call before it is too late. It is by a life of sharing that we can break out of our indifference through a kind word, a good deed, a generous help, an encouraging look, and a comforting hug given at the appropriate time. We are actually reaching out to touch those in need. In doing so, we actually allow ourselves to be touched in depth. Give until it hurts you, said Mother Teresa. No one remains unchanged after personal contact with the world of the poor and the needy. Lazarus had real gifts of worth to offer the rich man. Unfortunately, the rich man failed to recognize them in time and never learned the meaning of the truth. To give is to receive. It is more blessed to give than to receive. God sends up wake-up calls all the time. We should not wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow may be a little too late. God bless you.